Okay, I want to do a recap of the market from this morning, or actually from last Monday, or this Monday at the beginning of the week. So on Sunday night, I look at the market, and to me, it did look like we were going to get crushed on that Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin did go down on the week. Gold went up on the week. This is the weekly charts. And just doing the most limited view of the market, just the quick and dirty, okay, what happened this week? A weekly update. I guess you call this bullshit, right? But we had broke out of the triangle here. It doesn't mean you keep it going on gold, but this is the triangle I drew. And I'm running this in a really, at 1266 by 1080 pixels recording, because the last video was like 9 hours to render for YouTube or something. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't like I just wanted to try it, and unfortunately, 2 hours, almost 3 hour video like that, who knew, that's why they got to build some nuclear reactors, get the fucking AI giving us some better rendering speed, That computer the guy drug out to the White House that day, that thing looked like that column, it looked like a fucking engine. And yeah, this is our new computer. Yeah, we need one of those. So the 4K thing is just overrated. I don't know. I suppose if it's porn, I got it. I'm in. But I think we need it for trading. And less is more. And the trading actually had this really sweet card back in the day. And when they stopped making this thing, my heart broke. This is about 19. It's like 2008 maybe. And they had this card. Matrox had a card, and it had a thing called Quick Desk. And all you had to do is hit like F1 on your keyboard. You could assign a hotkey, a function key. And if you hit that key, it would just zoom in. It would just go boom. And it would just literally, in zero latency, back then, of course, it was just right there on the bus. There wasn't like this, oh, wait, got to think about it. Oh, do you like it? No. It was just there, and then you could just pan the whole screen, and you had 3 levels of zoom. And it would just take you there. And it was as if the screen, this is on, a 386 or something computer. It was so clean, so fast. And then they, oh, well, you know what? We made one of those things, and guess what? It's on the USB port now. And it's got a bunch of software drivers that come with it. And this thing, there was no drivers, dude. You plug this fucker in, and it said, oh, I'm here. Okay, then let's go. It wasn't like, well, let me double check that. Oh, do you have a real ID? No, you can't get on the bus. So, now people have all these screens, and they have like all this fucking data, like they got fucking miles of these charts that are all compressed. And the market's vertical. If you have any money in the market, if you can't see the spread, then you can't see what it's costing you to even trade the fucking thing. If the top becomes a bottom, it has to happen. If there's, I get it. If you're in the NASDAQ, whatever, supposedly there's no spread, but you still have to see the precise, like, how much does it cost you for these trades? Like, if you're going to trade with any kind of stop, or maybe the account's a stop, and you got to see where you're at. So I like this really crude zoomed in view. So this is like max zoom in. Now I'm still running my monitor in 4K, so maybe it looks very bizarre. Maybe I can even do this if I go to a regular monitor res and record MT4, which I'm not. MT4 is actually condensed down to fit into this format. So maybe you can't even get this effect, but you wouldn't want it anyways because the fucking borders are too big here, and Windows doesn't let you change this border. They used to let you change that border, and that's not. They just get rid of shit. Here's the other problem. Windows, when you go to do something you would normally do, like, here, give me these things by date, it's like more. So you have to open another tab now. And the same thing with Android. They just updated Android. So now when you swipe down, your settings are now in layers. You've got to do another fucking swipe. So what I don't understand is that the complexity, it's not getting any easier. Well, maybe that's the whole idea, right? To train you. What the fuck is going on? Is it just me? Okay, so I don't know. I haven't talked to ChatGPT. I do talk to ChatGPT about that. I say, what the fuck? And they go, you're right. A lot of people are complaining about that. I said, what is with that? I'm mixing down my recordings now, and I'm noticing that if I ask Samplitude to render, yeah, once it kind of has to pixelate it, it kind of has to dither it. Even though it claims it's not dithering, it's doing a 32-bit float output, it's still fucking with it. And what you really have to do is play it back in analog and capture it through real gear, and then just have it go to a unit that's recording a WAV file at 48, whatever. Just a sidetrack there. Sidetrack note. But, this is just like, the truth of it is, and just the cleanliness. But I guess was the whole point is being that shit's just getting more complicated, and trading's not complicated. It's either you went long or you're short. And I guess the candlestick thing to me was the answer to this kind of Zen view, this kind of, just give me 4 pieces of information is really what it is. Per day. Was the high, low, open, close. Done in a really dramatic way, unlike the American bar chart or the Western bar charts. It's just funny how it is. The bar chart here is just about, to me, about range. You're like, holy shit. Like, I just think about range, and I think about the stop hunt, right? What do you call it? Or the clear, the explosion in range. So if you just do nothing but pay attention to these, the range here, like so, came down here, and this is the weekly gold chart, by the way. It wouldn't matter. All the markets are the same when it comes to the, I suppose, retesting of prices or ranging. So it's just ranging here, right? I mean, as crude as it can be. You also notice the top become a bottom right here as far as it coming. I mean, this comeback here, but really I think it's more about these 3 wicks here, or these 3. So they're not wicks now. It's really easy to see the void, right? You're not distracted by the story of, there's a doji or something. You're just not attracted. Your mind doesn't see it. This format here really does remind me of my old computer that just kind of had it like, oh, this is really interesting. It's like, what a puzzle, How in the fuck can you make money from this data? Now, gold is about to start hitting this 3,500 shit. And this window here is going to be the scalp window, right? Because we have these 2 highs, and people probably already went a little bit short here for the people that are looking to do this trade. The people that are looking to do this trade here, and then the people looking to do this trade, I'm just talking about the scalps. When you pop up higher, come back. The first price pulse, or the first clearinghouse, what do you want to call it? I don't know what to call these things. There's so many fucking retests. It's endless, right? The Gartley tip. I don't know. In other words, every time it makes a new high, like here, when you broke out here, right? We know it went higher, so the evidence is here that this happened. If people are selling into that, they're probably the scalpers are gonna cash out here, so they're looking to make this much money. Now, how do you play it? I would play it by putting in several tickets with expirations that maybe one day. Now here it would be a week. I mean, you're really looking for, like, when this day comes, uh, and you take out this lonely wick, right? This would be, um, if Williams fractals, if you could set that Williams fractal to just put in every time you see this, every time it makes a head and shoulders, every time it makes, here's like an inverted head and shoulder. Right here is a turning point, right? So it makes it do low. Okay, well, it just fails, right? It comes back. Top tick Tommies, right? I mean, you could do these trades are very low risk because you're saying, I'm just going to put in tickets really tight here and just with a tight stop. I have great ratios. Here, if you put the sell limit here and the market goes up like this, they're going to crush your whole bank of tickets out unless you have enough money to hold on till it comes back here, because you have to sell above this too. So when you're doing the selling into strength or selling into new highs or buying into new lows, if this has never happened before, and this has never happened before, if you look left, history leaves clues. It's never fucking been this high. So people lose their minds above 3,000. Think about it. So you had to know, and look, it does come back, and you do get a chance to get in the next day. It opens up there a little bit down. You can get in, and then zoom, right? But if you think that people weren't selling, the so-called professionals, that just means people with, I suppose you mean people with deep pockets. Yes, people with deep pockets were like, dude, when it gets above like 3,200, call me because I'm selling everything. And if they sold and they sold and they sold and they got deep pockets, right? It's a drawdown, they're selling, they're martingaling into that fucker. They're ready to sell to $4,000. There's a guy out there going, oh, really? Gold's what? And how did that trade work out? Well, every fucking trade's a winner, right? Because if you held the whole pack of that shit, in fact, you could probably scalp to here and be here and have one here and even redone the rack. Start selling into this void. So the void is anything to new high. Selling new highs, buying new lows. Well, you can't have a robot do it on the weekly because the robot you can't even back test the fucking thing. This robot shit, forget about it. I don't know. Maybe there's a way. Like, I have to come up with a filter. Like, in other words, the filter would be so filtered that robot wouldn't even fucking take a trade for fucking maybe 3 years. In other words, if your robot is so tuned and so curve fit to the market, it's just never. Think about it. Think about it. So a human can look at the market and go, you gotta be kidding me. But you can plan for the future too, right? You can say, well, yeah, call me when gold's at $4,000 so I can sell all the gold I got and buy a fucking, better set of headphones. But yeah, look at it. So as you zoom out, like in the bar chart, it's very clean, and it just looks just nice, easy. Look at this. Look where you're at on gold there, though. Look at the fucking view of that. There's plenty of data there. If you want data, just zoom out. And you're just, things fucking hell bent there. I think we had probably a 3,800, But that's not about that. For me, it's about making money. So I just call me because I'd be putting sell limits up here. And saying, yeah, let's see some drama there. Let's see it go. Here's a daily. Daily's like, so on the daily chart, it's different. It's a different trade plan, right? Here you got a lot of trades. If you're gonna do this buy new lows, if say you got buy limits pending here and here and here and here and here. Now here you would get filled, right? So you're long. Right? If you held, you could cash out that ticket there, right? You're buying this whole sweep of stuff, right? when you fill all those tickets and the market comes back here and comes back to the floor, you could take the whole thing off. You're buying new lows here. Buy, 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 buy. All unpendings, all limit fills, no market orders. You cash out the whole thing into this floor. Or hold it until you retest this. This is your last time to buy a new low. Buy a new low. No new lows to buy. Well, you could sell this. Here's the lonely wick here. And yeah, people are going to be probably making a lot of money. All the market has to do is go like this for one day, and that guy made money. Right? Here's your lonely wick. You got sell limits above here. You get filled. You get filled again. Very low risk trades. You're just right at the edge of the market with your stops right here. All the way back to the other side. You could play it long or short. It doesn't matter. I just don't, here's when you're going to get clobbered is if you put in a buy limit here. Yeah, you're going to get, like I said, if you held this for eventually getting out there, all of these buy limits, like you buy limit here based on, why are you putting a buy limit there? Is because right this low is telling you, hey, there's a supply here, or demand, or whatever they call it. This here is gone, so that's why that guy made that indicator that does this, because these areas are now, that's all been paid for, right? That's all been cashed out. The last structures that exist, looking back, are this. This is all that matters now. So this is all that matters now. That's all been cashed out, exploited, raped. There she is, sitting right there on the couch. Yeah, it's not a Gartley. It's so funny, the Gartley pattern thing. People have to get their brain around that triangle, I guess. Well, here's the triangle. But here's this. See this big void's it totally filled up. The price just gobbled up that void. And then the last shelf here, when it hit that, it was like, oh yeah, like wow. And the reaction is always overreaction, right? Didn't take this out, but the market has to calm down and get quiet before it can go the other way. Very bizarre, but it's the yin and yang, I guess. Now, when you zoom out just one notch, all of a sudden the whole thing changes, but I can still see the situations, how they exist here. Here's one of those wedges. This is a previous triangle breakout, but this void here and right in there, all the way back, they just crush this. The sellers came in above that, cashed out, and then here another over. It doesn't. This is not a top become a bottom that ends up like this, or even here where this trend line even holds. It just comes all the way, because this is so extreme over here. It has to go psycho ward extreme down here, and even come back here and take out these lows from back in there. And this is 1 month from here to here is a month. So that's a lot of trading in gold that has nothing to do with the fucking moving average, where you would just be literally saying, well, yeah, gold's going up. Okay, I'm a bull. Well, how can I go long and really lock in a super low price, maybe 5 tickets? Okay, well, if I run a trailing buy limit below the last known low. Yeah, that's going to be the cheapest way to go long. So the daily, you got to have buy limits sitting here right now. There's no other play. It's kind of like it just trades itself. Here you'd be like, okay, let's put a buy limit in. No fill. Stop, cancel, replace. Now put 2 buy limits in. Cancel, replace. Put 3 buy limits in. You're going to buy more. So as it goes up, you have to buy more. And do you leave this buy limit pending? Well, if you put an expiration in of 1 day, it's gonna just dissolve. It's not gonna be there. And would you fill if you just bought new lows? You didn't even care if it was where you're at in the structure. You're just gonna buy new lows because. So if you put a buy limit here on the so you have a cancel replace every day. When it drops down here, you're going to buy new lows. You would have got filled here. They would have taken you out. You would have got filled here. You got filled here. And no fill there. But if they expire every day, so you're long now. And you would have got filled here buying new lows because it went and took this out. So this one's, unless you held it until here, that's a loser. But if you consider this low, you have to have an order because of this. Without regard to this buying new lows, this is way more important. Anything below there. Now that could be a ticket that lasts fucking all month. Because that's always going to be a fucking amazing fucking place to buy. So is this. Like, these are big deal prices. Anything like this, if you turn on Williams Fractal, all right, that's a turning point. There's a turn. There's a turn. Can you, I mean, is it really hard to see? No nonsense could figure this shit out. Okay, this is a big deal. This is a big deal price. Big deal. Big fucking deal. Okay, you got sell limits up there. That's a big deal. Right here, you just got filled. You're short now. Because you just breached this. Right? This is a big deal. When this happens, holy shit. Look at the money you make on that fucker coming back. So if you're waiting for this, yeah, this is where you have your buy limits. Always, long time. But from day to day, now that's why you go to the 4-hour chart and you put your tickets here on the 4-hour chart. Like, you don't need to babysit the market for these entries, right? You're going to get filled here. You're going to cash out. You're going to get filled here. Big fill here. Look at this fucking giant move off of getting this is a big deal, and that is. If we ever make it above this, yeah, the seller crazy easy scalps. Here's another point right there. When that breaches, now on the daily, you're gonna wait a long fucking time for those trades. Whereas if you have a policy where you just buy new lows in with tight stops, it's a tighter stop, I suppose, than some of these, right? These are outlandish. Like if you're gonna sell here, you got a pretty wide stop. But if you're gonna buy the trailing buy limit here and get filled here, right? This is pretty tight stuff. Whereas here, holy God, you're going to buy there and you're looking to make that move. Also, if you go to the 4-hour chart, keeping the same, just a simple bar chart. You just don't need all this fucking stuff people run. It's just incredible. The amount of stuff people pile into a chart and how many bars are on the chart. It gets out of control. So 4 hour time frame. I gotta delete this color thing. It's messing up my jeez. Well, I have to zoom out now. I guess 4 hour chart because I can't see the turning points there. All right, so here, like this is way out there price, right? Way out there. Here too, way out there price. But notice how tight that is. That's a double the outlying edge of the market here too. So here's a really big deal price turned around, and you're gonna have to buy in that. Almost, it really didn't quite even hit that. Here's another extreme turning point entry, getting down here, buying down there, and just doesn't happen that often. Now here's where it went nuts, and you got to have some deep pockets for this trade because you would have sold all the way into that, held it, comes all the way back. You can scalp out, but then look at the follow through of that. Just amazing. Here's a great place to get in. That's a Williams fractal there. And as soon as it touches it, dead cat bounce. But then the big fill is this. Another right to the floor dead cat bounce and monster fill here. And because of these 2 points and this big void here, that's the supply, the supply zone. So hey, you just put the limits in there, and you step back. This is a completely passive system, and you put the orders in. So the orders this week would be, okay, I'm just going to sell into this. Place limits up there. You could only have made a few bucks here because as soon as it took this out, came back, confirmation people, the confirmation style where you're waiting for it to come back. It doesn't always come back. Right? As soon as you hit this, come back. Actually, a nice deep profit on that for people selling off of that high. And here, selling off of this high again, back, punch through, back, punch through, back. It's working its way up. But all scalpers are making money on that. That's a 4 hour gold chart. And finally, just run through this void, and people that are short are looking for this trade now, or at least this. They may not get it. It may keep punching higher. And that's what you don't know. You just don't know if it can keep punching. Here's a great entry point that will always be a big deal. It does make it back to that floor after coming down, rating all that, and it overshoots the runway, starts to come back in. People are probably like, well, it's just going to go like this. All the bulls, at least me, I'd be, yeah, oh, look at this, still holding this long-term trend line here off another time frame. I don't even know the fuck time frame that was off, but getting a triangle here. Market's getting quiet. We got a void forming here and a void here. What's going to happen? Come all the way back. But the fun of the trading is that we don't know what's going to happen here, but I suspect there's going to be a lot of up drama here. And if stocks keep tanking, then gold, yeah. The old run to safety theory of life, But there is no stopping the march into gold. We don't know how much gold there is, and the idea that it doesn't matter. Like I said, people's belief system overrides reality. Did people really think that Some of these things people put on a high list of importance were ever really that important, anyways. Once the crowd decides that, yeah, that's just not, popular anymore, they dump it pretty hard. Things turn on a dime. This Elon Musk guy, he's greatest thing since sliced bread. Now he's a complete piece of shit. So the stuff just flips hard, and but things take a long time to turn. Even though I guess I can see it coming, we can all see it coming. I hope. He's still wearing a mask. I see people at the store wearing a fucking mask. Dude, what are you gonna do? You can't unring the bell, and it's just there. It's just it's like a pothole on the road. I used to go down these dirt roads and think, man, there's just like a series of potholes. Maybe if they fixed the first one, it wouldn't keep echoing. You wouldn't just keep. It's like the next one's caused by the first one, because now the guy's suspension is now bouncing at the size of the tire, and it's like a washboard, the whole fucking dirt road now. But no, now we have to suffer through all the goobers out there, slugging along and in their cart. I don't know. Every time I go out to the store, it's crushing to see. It's like, do you really? And then you see what is people's carts, and you just think, do you really need that? I mean, what the hell, fucking? You get a PlayStation, right? What are you supposed to do? You need to play with something. Don't play with food, people. It's not the answer. But look at the monthly. The monthly is just scary steep. That's why I just can't even believe people are falling for this gold stuff. But yeah, there's plenty of there's plenty of range trading to be done. On the monthly, you're like, wow, this is kind of boring. There's not even a place to look at how stable, and look at the range on that. Okay, let's go back to the whole view, the total view here. I'll just do a wrap up here. I just want to do a quick update, but of course it just turns into a fucking bunch of nonsense here. Stay on the weekly candlesticks there. I'm trying to stay on topic. Weekly oil's stalled out there. So Swiss franc's coming back. CAD is down on the weekly. I bought into that. Bitcoin down. A British pound sitting there flat. It's starting to get a little bite there. We did get a little pop there, slightly up on dollar yen. So I don't know. It looks like everything's kind of. This is stalled out here. This is weekly charts, by the way. So kind of really running out of drama. One level of zoom out is a whole different thing, and weekly chart. The weekly chart's a different, it's a different thing. How you're all the way back to this is kind of interesting. You eventually get there, right, if you have the patience. All the way back to this floor. It's incredible. The first thing I noticed about forex that just kind of blew me away when I first saw it is how the closing bid goes back to the left. All the way back, it's like its own fucking support and resistance, constantly giving you where you're at in relationship to where you've been. I just thought that was amazing. And the first time I saw charting, right? Because in books, all you see is a bar chart. You don't see the bid going to the left or the ask going all the way to the left constantly. And it's like that on the phone MT4. And that's really a nice reference to, like, okay, where are you at right now? And they said that there was a floating, when I first looked at it, they said it was a floating rate. And there's no regulation on it either, so And if that's a float, that's like where you're at. Current water table, water line is right there at the bed. And so the daily 4 hour, I like the bar chart. I like to switch around. Now, the line chart, of course, is the ultimate in timing it. You can see the double bottoms here easy. Here's a top become a bottom. It just jumps out at you. Cute little top become a bottom, and then ding. Here's your measured move thing. Goes up, pauses, and then goes. This is your trend trader's ultimate entry. Don't see that a lot, but a double top, double bottom, double top. Yeah, not the problem with the 4 hour chart is that in a line chart is that it's not that easy, because if you had a 3 hour chart, it might look better because it's a line chart. It's its closing prices only. So that's the problem with. But so if you go to the 1 hour chart, then it's more symmetrical. It always makes sense on the 1 hour, right? Because you can see easily. But it's good to know. Like, here's a price pivot, top become a bottom. It's a pivots really live on the line chart. Comes back. These are called setups, I think. Like this is what I think it's called, a setup, because the market's setting up. Here's a bottom become a double top in price and time, and then it starts to go crushing into the void. Of course, this is where I start buying just by default, and I have a big tickets down here, right? And now you're trapped under the floor. Every moment, to me, this chart means time. Every moment we are down here, I'm buying. So I would go into a buying frenzy under the floor here. I know people scalping to the floor, it comes back and rejects, and that cuts through. This 1 hour chart just tells you all you need to know. I have the time frames running in these blocks. So we have to me, this is the best of both worlds. The line chart with the time blocks. I don't know what this is. It's not quite 12 hours. It's almost 12 hour split. But this lets you focus on, this is a new high. There's a big supply up here. If we come up here, we get filled and we can cash out. And we know that when the session opened the next day, we could cash out of that trade. That's a structured trade, in my opinion. It has nothing to do with the moving average. It's just fucking, it went up, it went back, it closed that thing. Same thing here, it went up, and it's cashed out. So what I said at the last video, at the close, the sellers are here, and they sold it. And they made this, whatever this is, about 18 pips. You could have easily bought this void here, right? And depending on how big you bought there, you could have done stem to stern here, right? You could have done this to this. That trade. Here's a bunch of choppy stuff, but it'll double top there, and then as soon as it takes that low out, oh my God, crush city. Right? And if you're buying every drop, you buy here, maybe you're buying this whole column, but then you got to cash out of something because it never makes it back to here until days later, if you can wait. So the swing traders are going to wait 3 days for that to get paid. The scalpers are going to get, they just make their money right there. And it just goes on, right? It's pretty much just how it is. The only thing that changes is the depth of the move, right? How fast it gets there. On the daily chart, the line chart's better. The 4 hour chart, it's not good because It's not good because it's arbitrary close. Like, what is 1 o'clock in the morning? I mean, shit. You can't set the 4-hour chart to close at midnight, which would make more sense. Unfortunately, that's a flaw in MetaTrader. So you get a different broker, we have a different 4-hour chart, which is just fucking crazy. But here on the daily, it makes total sense. You see a double bottom, you see top become a bottom. I don't have the range there though. I should have a indicator that'll do a monthly range or something like that. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know how to set it like that, but I guess this blue line happens to be it. But I don't really do here's a top becoming a double bottom. Right there. But it's just so rare. It's just too rare. Right here, closing below that. Yeah, definitely buying because it's closing below that low. But definitely buying all the way to here, and it comes all the way back to it, and people cash out. So that is a true thing. That really did happen. Like I said, it's not enough data here because you can't play the limit entry game here. That's the problem with the closing prices. Now, in the hourly chart, I don't think so because there's enough dimension, there's enough trades that it makes sense. A good old-fashioned 1-hour closing prices. It's just old-fashioned stuff that works. You don't have to have all these fancy tick bar charts. What a fucking stupid. Oh my god. The stuff. How about the point and figure charts? Blow my brains out. Jesus fuck. I mean, what the fuck have people done? Rank code charts? I guess, right? Well, why not just put more fucking. Just hit the loudest button on your stereo. Why don't you just put more. Get a subwoofer. Right? It's like having a. Like, okay, well, yeah. I got it's my neighbors, the dogs fucking, hemorrhaged the dog's intestines. There's so much subwoofer, the dog died. Turns out high frequency wasn't the problem with the dog. I said low frequency fucking kicked his ass. But I think the 1-hour chart to me is the ultimate. Yeah, you got that big run up and look at this little cute marching top become a bottom. It just gives you the close. The columns. I'm talking about these range things. With the 1-hour chart and the closing, you can pace it, and go look at this thing, how fast it dropped. Really, it's down that far. And I'm more inclined to jump in. This is down 50 pips every hour. Buying into that because the rate of plunge is so mind-boggling. Buy, and then the relief in the Asian session. But we've left this turning point, and now we can have all of this super ripe area. You do have to wait a couple days for that entry, though. Just like this one, you have to take out this high here and make the money on that coming back, and just seeing that, yeah, you could got. Then you got a double bottom and then another move here. But these are the moves I think you can make 25, 50 pips, 75 pips, 100 pips day in, day out because you're selling this, and you're getting auto-filled on the limits here. And those all become winners in this high drama done. I'm sure it's overbought here on your stochastics or whatever. But the extreme fucking wicks, and this is an extreme wick on the day, showing up as a punch into this on the 12-hour columns. These are probably about 12 hours here. I'm not sure where I split the turnover, but it looks like 12 hours to me. And that's about the cleanest, easiest. But if you go to the 8 hour, where instead of this as being 12 hours, it's be 8 hours or even 4 hours at the 4 hour one. I think I have a 2 hour version, but there's more trading on that. More of these turning points on the 2 hour, but then there's more tickets you'd have to put in and more trades to worry about. And that's really seems to be the only difference between people. Some people just want to do a very specific rule entry, but the entry rules are here pretty obvious. I don't think you need to have this big checklist. I mean, I get it that people want to sell a course, so they have all this. You notice that people that sell a course, they have all this shit that. Well, first there's the intro. There's the intro to the intro. Now let me just tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a veteran trader. No, so they say, well, look at this. Okay, the first thing you want to do is get a nice, clean, working. Okay, well, of course, I mean, I'm trading in my car. Okay, I'm living out of my car, but can I trade? Yeah, sure. You got a tablet. But yeah, these are and it's just not very exciting. Just placing pending orders and going, yeah, looks like they made a new low there. Yeah, I got filled on that. And the market went back up and I made money. So now what? Well, can't you just you have a P Diddy party or something? Do something, man. You're making money. I know those guys that are doing the forex with wads of cash and stuff. Yeah, I guess is it really? And the amount of stuff, the VWAP, I think is the funniest thing in the world. What's the VWAP say, dude? What? How big are we into this trade, by the way? Is this one of those trades where I just have to keep adding money to the account because the drawdown is so insane? What kind of swing trade is this that you're in? So a swing trade's completely different than the scalp where you just have, I just got stopped out. Let's do it again. I made money on that one. I stopped out of that one. But, yeah. I want to do a strategy tester video with this template. But I think I have to take a nap first. No, I want to do something. I want to do a mix down. But this here is like, I had to do a simple clean. It looks like I cropped this wrong on the video. It's got a little edge on it there. I just noticed. Or it shifted on me. My mouse is acting up. The markets are really interesting at the end of the year. I do think there's going to be this possible climax, maybe on gold, into the end of the year. Stocks, I think they really are going to tank there, and the weekly NASDAQ is what I'm looking at. And it's just going to be where it's total saturation. Everybody's in. Everybody loves it. It couldn't be better. This is the second week down. We got a hammer on the weekly. If you look at the monthly, it looks terribly spinning top. This is the end of the month, by the way. I have no patience to wait for this fucking thing to crack and fall apart here, but I think we're absolutely due for a pullback to this top. And it's a total trap up here. The irrational exuberance, the enthusiasm is too high. Let's face it, the consumer confidence is, all this stuff has completely a hangover. There's no fucking way people are going to be like, oh, it's amazing. Yeah, well, now what? Right? Okay, so you won the lottery, now what? You're still a fucking asshole. All right? What doesn't matter? And the aha moment is going to be a complete crowd aha moment. Right? So you get your tariff. You whipped out the tariff here, Liberty Day, and now You've taken this over because the overreaction, because you took out this, you got to take out this. But what do you think fucking happened now? Come back to here, right? At least come back to here. And if that doesn't, uh, like if that doesn't become this, holy shit, right? It's gonna be this. What I suspect is gonna happen is it's gonna be just bullshit for the next 2 years. That's my prediction. But hey, listen, uh, that's kind of fun to predict stuff. And if I predict stuff, I usually want to draw. I want to say, okay, well, let's do what's going to happen there, and get it to play out the scenario of Nasdaq goes maybe a little bit higher here, kind of dicks around, caves in, comes back to this. Well, you know, we're going to finish out the end of the year here. Dick around. And then it maybe just has like this kind of price availability that we do make it to here, but then we come to here and it's just complete nonsense for the next year. And people are like, yeah, well, nobody's actually making money. It's just ranging. Maybe not ranging that big. That might be a little, people might actually be upset. So it's going to be like, say, yeah, maybe it does come back to this, and then we get this, and it's just people like, yeah, like I'm not getting killed, and everything's okay. And every market does that because we have been through fucking hell with this motherfucking potato fucking head. Let's face it. In other words, there has to be some kind of consolidation mentally. And when markets consolidate, it's very boring. And 80% is consolidation. 80% of this market is going to be just completely boring, sideways bullshit. But yeah, the gold and the oil, I really do want oil to just keep tanking. So it's down this month. If it keeps going, it's going to whittle down to 50, but oh my God, just get there. I just can't fucking take it with these motherfuckers with the oil, with the fucking windmills and shit. So, yeah, to breach this, to get down to here, right, that would be beautiful. Fell through the floor here. People scooped up, got overreacted, came back to here, now we're to here. Yeah, just please go the fuck down to here. Right, remember this? Remember? Right, 2 weeks to flatten the fucking curve. All right. Anyways, back to the drawing board of life.